The Gift of the Flute. Long ago, in the land of the Sioux, there was a time before the people had flutes. They had drums made of wood and animal hide, and rattles made of gourd, but they had no flutes, for they had never seen or heard one. One day, a young hunter left his village to follow the fresh tracks of an elk. He carried with him a new wooden bow and a deerskin quiver holding arrows carved of wood, with fine feathers and flintstone arrowheads as sharp as glass. Into the mountains he allowed the tracks of the elk, who remained always just out of sight, so that the hunter never caught a glimpse of him. The elk's tracks led deep into a forest, where, as night fell, both they and the elk disappeared. As darkness filled the woods, the moon did not rise, and the hunter was forced to admit that until daybreak he was lost. He ate a little of the wasna, dried meat, mixed with berries and fat, that he carried in his deerskin pouch, and followed the sound of water to a cold stream, from which he drank. Then he wrapped himself in his fur robe and tried to sleep. But the night sounds of the forest were ones of animals calling, and owls hooting, and trees groaning. And instead of sleeping, the hunter lay wakefully listening. The more he listened, the more he heard, until he realized that he was hearing a sound he had never heard before. It was a sound of wind, though not only of wind. And it was strangely lovely, yet dry and mournful, like the whistle of a ghost. And it was somewhat frightening. With a shiver, the hunter gathered his robe closer about him and took a long, long time to fall asleep. When the hunter awoke with the sun, he looked up and saw Wagnuka, the red-headed woodpecker, on a branch of the tree under which he had slept. The bird flitted to another tree and to another, each time looking back as if to say, "Follow." Again the hunter heard the lovely, strange sound of the night before, and he took up his bow and quiver and followed the woodpecker from tree to tree, through the forest until the bird came to a great cedar. There it paused on one hollow, slender branch and began hammering with its beak at holes it had pecked in the wood. When the wind entered the holes the woodpecker had carved, the branch whistled with this lovely, strange sound. "Kola, friend," said the hunter to the woodpecker, "permit me to take this branch back to my people." So the hunter returned to his village with no elk meat, but instead with the first flute, a gift of the tree, of the wind, of the bird, and of one who had learned how to listen.